Alright, what's up YouTube? So I've been getting a lot of comments recently asking if I commentate over some of my pixel art, and up until now my answer has been, well, I'll give it a bit of a go. And I was really hoping for a tutorial that'd be anywhere between 5 and 7 minutes really, but unfortunately there's nothing like that even on the horizon, so I'm stuck with this. If you haven't guessed already, I'm not going to be counting out blocks for you. I've seen some people do that on YouTube, and there's no way that I'm spending like 13 minutes counting blocks. So if you don't want to listen to me babble on for 10 minutes straight, then I'd suggest muting the video, putting a bit of music on, and just building along. Or click off the video. It's up to you really. Right, so I'm building Sonic in this video. I've already made Sonic actually. I made Super Sonic, kind of like a little sprite version, and it got requested that I made Blue Sonic, or normal Sonic, and I wanted to make him anyway, and the fact that it was requested I decided to bump it up a little bit, because I hadn't found the time previously. It's been a few days since I've actually been able to make anything new. I got quite a lot done this morning actually. I think I filled out 7 requests. None of them rebuilds, unfortunately. I've still got to remake Kratos, Pink Panther. As you see, I just cut out the sleepy time. It's quite an abrupt jump. Yeah, I need to remake Kratos, the Pink Panther. I need to do a Steve statue tutorial, although they're all over YouTube, to be honest. I'm not sure if they're there for the other skins though. I decided to be a bit overzealous when I made mine and just made all bloody the whole skin pack one, or the whole original skin pack, whichever it is. Yeah. So if you don't know who Sonic is, I'm pretty sure that Sonic, he was first made in 1990 or 1991, I can't remember which, and I don't know what came first, either the video game or the manga. But I've played a decent amount of Sonic games, so I suppose I could talk about that for a little bit. I remember playing the original Sonic and the first few Sonics actually. They're pretty good. In Sonic at this point, he's pretty iconic. I know that it's always an argument, or they always seem to get compared, I should say, Sonic and Mario. And I suppose if I was asked, I'd say that I'd prefer Sonic, to be honest. It's not that I don't like Mario, it's just that I don't particularly like the Mario games. There's only really been 2 or 3 that I've enjoyed. There's Mario 64, I think that is probably, single player, probably the best game that I've ever played, Mario-wise. I really enjoyed that game. They re-released it on the DS, 5 years ago I guess it'd be now, or something like that. Mario Kart Double Dash, probably one of my favourite multiplayer games. If you play that with a few friends, that can be a good laugh. Can easily play it with like 4 people. Spent hours and hours on that game. And I remember a Mario game where you had to collect, I think it was like these 6 coins or 12 coins or something. It's for the Game Boy Color, or is it for the Game Boy non-color? Either way, like, I've only really enjoyed those. I haven't really liked the others. Whereas Sonic, I've just brought up the list while I've been talking. Sonic 1, Sonic the Hedgehog, it came out in 1991. Sonic 2, 1992, I played that. I played Sonic Spinball, which came out in 1993. That was alright. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Sonic and Knuckles, and then there's a load that I've just not heard of, or at least none that trigger anything that I'm looking at. So I played a lot of the classic ones, and Then I played a decent amount of the Advance ones. When the Game Boy Advance came out, with it of course brought a whole new generation of Sonic. I'm pretty sure that's what this pixel art's based on, the Sonic sprite from the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, I've played Sonic Advance 1, 2 and possibly 3. And the last Sonic game that I've actually played, looking at this list, is Sonic Rush, which came out in 2005 for the DS, as I remember, which is crazy. That's like 8 years ago now, and it doesn't seem that long ago in my head. And then for me it kind of tapered off a bit. That's when they seemed to stop really making Sonic games, or at least I thought so. I'm looking at this list now, and they seem to have released at least one every year after that. And actually, if you count like Sonic the Olympics, Sonic and Mario in the Olympics, I think it's called, or Sega Olympics, or whatever. You know what it is. It's advertised on TV all the time. Yeah, I'm just looking at them. Have you ever heard of Sonic 4 Episode 1, Sonic Free Riders, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, Sonic 4 Episode 2? I've never heard of them. Although Sonic and the Black Knight I have heard of, which came out in 2009. I've seen that on YouTube. That came out for the Wii, I believe. But yeah, and there was something always, if you've seen, I remember watching, I don't know how long ago this is now, I think it was called Sonic X. I think I was like 12, possibly 13 when it came on the TV. There's just something about Sonic's personality which also always translated well with me. He was always a bit cocky, always a bit arrogant, a bit of an arsehole really. And the fact that he's a hedgehog, he's blue and he runs really fast. I don't think you can really argue with that. So yeah, what about this pixel art? I did want to say something about this actually. I am happy with how it turned out, but I would have been a little happier if I would have had the proper colours for it. There's two blues that I use, which is the darkest blue and the lightest blue. I was going to use cyan instead of the light blue, but it just didn't look right when I made it before this, so I went with the light one. It doesn't really match what I'd like it to look like, but you know, you make do with what you've got. So that's the first thing. It's not really a big deal. It's still 2 shades of blue and it's not that far off. But the skin, as you're seeing now, the only 2 colours that I could really use were the sandstone and the brown wool. And I really wish they would add some other brown into this game that isn't wood, because wood just looks crap. Wood looks terrible, I think, when you add it to pixel arts. I almost didn't make Bowser. I've made a Bowser sprite if you haven't seen it. I almost didn't make that because I had to use wood. But yeah, they're the only 2 things really. What else? So I made that a little wrong, I remember. I put the 1 block too high. So yeah, I was going to make him a bit bigger, because I made Shadow and Tails before this Sonic here, there on the right of him. I don't know why, but a load of Sonic requests came all in like within a couple of days. I was kind of glad actually. Like I said, I like Sonic. I think all I have to make now, I've made Knuckles, Sonic, Shadow, Tails. Really need to only make Rose, I think. I don't particularly like, I think her name's Cream the rabbit. I probably won't make her. I might make the little green turquoisey looking things. What are they called? You might know what I'm talking about if you like Sonic. So yeah, I mentioned that I made Super Sonic. I don't know if you know anything about the games, but basically Sonic starts off like you'll see at the end of the video in his proper form. You know what Sonic looks like, I imagine anyway. He starts off like this, and through the games, through usually bonus levels you can get these things called Chaos Emeralds, and I think there's either 7 or 13 of them, and they're just different coloured emeralds, and they've got some sort of special power. And once you collect all of them, you basically unlock the ability to become supersonic, and to do that, basically, typically you have to have anywhere between 50 and 100 rings, and then you can activate it. And supersonic is, well, as it might suggest, the super version of Sonic. I mean, Sonic's already pretty fast. Sonic himself, I know he can break the sound barrier, and I looked this up a little while ago, and it depends whether you're going by the manga or the TV series or the games or whatever, but he seems to get slower over time. In the original version, he could travel continents in a matter of seconds, and if you imagine that, that means he could probably travel the world in a minute or something like that, which is insane. But yeah, as I remember from Sonic X, he can easily break the sound barrier, which is, it's decently fast. Jets can break the sound barrier, so he's fast. But Supersonic, he can apparently go light speed. In the game, you become invincible, you can fly, you're faster. As long as you've still got the rings, while you're supersonic, your energy, your power is slowly draining. So you either have to keep collecting rings while you're supersonic, or you'll eventually just become normal Sonic again. Except, unfortunately, with no rings, so if you get hit after you've dropped out of supersonic, it's game over. It's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I think this turned out pretty well. So I'm not sure if I should have chose a different colour for the eyes. I'm sure that his eyes are quite dark. It's only when he goes super that they brighten up a bit. But anyway, I hope you liked the video. I hope my commentary wasn't that mind-numbingly boring, that you've just muted and thrown some music on. Although I shan't blame you if you did, because I would have probably have done the same. But yeah, tell me whether you want me to provide any more commentary. Like I said, I'm not willing to count out blocks, to be honest. It's not my thing. And my feelings won't be hurt if you don't want me to do any more commentary. I'm